this, and I might say it wrong, it's either organic or inorganic. The arsenic that we oftentimes find, I think, is inorganic, and that's the stuff that really does break down in the body. It doesn't bioaccumulate. So we're not necessarily worried about the arsenic in rice because arsenic is naturally occurring in the ground. Rice grows in the ground. Rice is going to have arsenic in it. So he's not worried about it. And at this point, I have been practicing for 30 years. He's been practicing environmental medicine for 30 years, and he's not worried about it. So I can just pass that along, but I don't think I've been doing it for long enough to have sort of a strong opinion on it. So does that answer your question? Yeah, I mean, some things are...
Could you be decided you just don't want to do rice and you can do benefits from fibers?
Well, if you're going to do no grains, I think that's great. So we are now advocating no grains because I don't have a problem with rice, but I have a problem with corn because most of it is genetically modified. We've got a problem with gluten because we've heard about it all day long. And now our other grains are starting to be excessively processed. So this magnesium piece, we used to get all of our magnesium from our whole grains, but now we process our whole grains too aggressively and we don't get our nutrients out of them. So I get that whole grains are a great idea, but some of those whole grains that we go to are not good. So, rice might get tossed out with the baby in the bathwater, but at this point, it's a carbohydrate that can be very well broken down and used as a sugar source, and it's not great for so if we see concerns like mercury in the, like I'm old, so I have mercury still in my mouth, don't tell, I just learned all this stuff, so I didn't take it out before I had babies, but so for folks that do still have the mercury in their body, yeast in the digestive system or yeast in the body methylates mercury, so it activates mercury. So if you have mercury that's stable in your body and then you have a yeast problem, you're activating the mercury over and over again, which blew my mind. Is that just me or is that just my mind? So, there's problems that can compound each other. But when we talk about things like grain-free diets, that's why we're talking about it, because we're leveraging yeast and optimizing the digestive system in attempts to make everything a lot easier. So at this point, I'm not a big fan of rice, but that's I'll go with it on that. Yep.
What would you be missing if you're taking all grains and how would you replace it?
Easy. So you're missing some B vitamins, and you're missing a lot of things. Your B vitamins and your magnesium are the key ones, and your fibers. So then you do have to have leafy green vegetables, a lot of leafy green vegetables, because that's the way you can actually replace them. And it's not easy. But quinoa is a seed. Chia is a seed, although I can't remember, it's been a while since I looked up chia. I thought it had a little bit of fat in it, but I didn't think it had a whole lot of protein in it. Aillet, yeah, so it's got fat in it. It has linoleic acid. It's not a good protein source. Whereas chia. Yeah. How much?
30 grams.
That's great. That's got a lot of protein. And the quinoa has a lot of protein. So I would say, like, if you're going to have more like a grain idea, I would say quinoa and hemp parts versus chia. I feel chia is more essential fatty acid support and fiber support versus a protein support. Where you can take it, but it's a lot of it. We're kind of talking about kids who are not going to eat a ton. So you want those nutrient packed, lots of high nutrient dense foods. Yeah. That are in grains. Is that naturopathic plan over here?
Can you repeat the question?
Fiber, in your fiber, yeah. I'll go to my, yeah.
Before you answer the questions, can you repeat them, because we can't always.
Great idea.
Thank you.
Before I answer the questions, I'll repeat them. I'm teasing them.
No.
Can you recommend any good brand of rice? Because I read the article about the rice and it's contaminated with the heavy metals, especially the ones imported from South Asia and China.
So the
North America.
Yeah, so the question is about the rice. So can I recommend any brands of rice that don't have those heavy metal contaminants? And the answer is organic. So if you are going to have rice, then you choose organic rice, which means that organic rice, ideally the feed and fertilizer would be as clean as possible. But arsenic comes from the ground. So all rice, whether it comes from any different country, will say when, apparently in the US, they were having, the fertilizer had arsenic in it, and so they were feeding the chickens, how'd it go? The pesticide, we had pesticides on the ground, and then the chickens were eating grain, they were eating grass from the pesticides or grains from the pesticides that had, been exposed to the pesticides, and then they were using chicken manure, and then the chicken manure was used on the rice, so there was higher arsenic because of pesticide use. So if we buy things that are organic, then we negate that. But actual arsenic in rice is going to happen because arsenic is naturally found on the ground, and we grow rice from the ground. Does that answer the question? I'll go back to you. Yeah.
I haven't heard today any discussion on homeopathic drainage. Is that something you later
So the question is about homeopathic drainage, and do we use homeopathic drainage? So homeopathic drainage tends to talk about, so I kind of think of detoxification as like mercury. There's something in your system, so we take it out and we detoxify it, and then we dump it out of the body. I think of drainage as there's inflammation inside a cell. We take that inflammation out of the cell, and then allow it to get out of the body. So that's the way I sort of differentiate between detox and drainage. And we do love drainage. There's a naturopath out of the US, his name is Dick Tom, and he teaches classes on drainage, and my sister and I are Dick Tom disciples. And we talk about it, we love him so much that both of our husbands wanted to know what he looked like. So we had to Google them and then pop them up, and they're like, oh, he's like 5'6", balls, 60. I find it to be very stimulating, but it might be intellectual. So we do use drainage, but we don't talk about it a whole lot. Because homeopathy is great and it's wonderful and it does do magical things. It's just that it's in that realm of subtle. It's more subtle. And so it does work for a lot of cases, yeah. I talked to Dick, I Skyped Dick Tom, and I consulted on a couple of cases, and I asked him about heavy metals. And I said, can you detox heavy metals using drainage? And he said yes. So I asked, well, chromium, can you detox using drainage? He said no. I love both things. I don't know, and I haven't done enough of the pre and post provocation tests, and then only done drainage on these people, and only done DMSA on those people to sort of tell you enough on my own. So I those two guys do, and they both been practicing for over 30 years, and they both use the pre and post provocation tests, so they have numbers. Any other questions? Yep.
What about brain health protection?
Yeah, so the question is, what about brain health and mood and, or what kind of metals would you think about? And I think if you're thinking you have exposure, as an adult, 1/3 of us have exposure to, 1/3 of us have metal in our mouth. If we're over the age of, say, 30, we actually have mercury malleus in our mouth. And so if that's something that you have had in your body, you can test. Is your mercury stable or is it not stable? And if it's not stable, and if your body is able to pull it out, now, DMSA or a chelate agent can pull out everything. So everything is going to be pulled out, and it's going to be, if you do a pre-test and a post-test, your post-test is always going to be bigger than your pre-test, but it's how big. So DMSA will pull out 20 times the amount of your pre. That's totally normal. That's normal. Your post will always be bigger than your pre, but if it's more than 20 times the amount normal, then you have a problem, and then you may want to treat. So if it's consistent, if you have history where you have exposure, and there's a couple of triggers. So this is what Walter Krugman was talking about. People who are chemically sensitive, and he has this whole category for chemically sensitive. So chemically sensitive means you walk through the bay, and that is not a pleasant experience. The perfume affects you. Cigarette smoke affects you. Your gasoline affects you good or bad. Gasoline, all those exposures make you tired, give you a headache. You're aware of them. That means, by definition, you are chemically sensitive. If you're chemically sensitive, this is what he's learned over 30 years of treating environmental toxicity. If you're chemically sensitive, you are deficient in B6, selenium, magnesium, and glutathione. You are. He's done it a million times. Yep, magnesium, B6, selenium, and glutathione. Selenium recycles glutathione. B6 helps magnesium absorb. Magnesium makes glutathione. Oh. And chances are you're deficient in those. If you're chemically sensitive, you have issues with immunotoxicity. Means your body is attacking itself in some way. So those folks are more likely to have allergies, asthma, autoimmune issues, all the ways that the body can attack itself. They are also more likely to have sulfur SNPs, which means they don't manage sulfur well. It's the bottleneck. Sulfur is high in meat. It's high in the brassic family, the broccoli, cauliflower, Swiss chard, wasabi, onions, and garlic. Those who have high sulfur, it's not
Heavy
heavy
metals
metals
that cause that traumatic an issue.
Any other questions? I like the questions, they help.
Can you talk about mold exposure?
Yes, so, was it Georgian College or, in the last couple of months, so one of the big colleges, Georgian College, no, Nipissing, Georgian College or, I can't remember. Either Georgian College, George Brown, or Nipissing, they just actually found out that they tested for Stachybotrys. So Stachybotrys is black mold, and in the US, if your home got tested for Stachybotrys, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, would come in with white hazmat suits. They'd bag your house. You're allowed to take out your plastic ID, and everything else would be demolished from the ground in, gone. So there are molds that are extremely dangerous, and Stachybotrys is the beast. It requires running water in order to keep it going. Mold create mycotoxins. So mycotoxins are the toxicants in mold. And the problem with exposure is mycotoxins don't ever want to leave your body. And so I talked to this laboratory. So both Walter Crinian and I'll talk about this other guy, Bill Ray, and Lynn Patrick. So all of these are famous naturopaths in my world. So all of these folks use one lab called Real Time Labs in the States, and they're a research laboratory. It's taken me 3 months to get the packets, to get the test packets in. Call them, can you send test packets? I like test packets. Here's my credit card. Whatever you need, packets. So they're a great laboratory, but they're one of the only laboratories in the US that will test mycotoxins in the body. So you can have exposure, and everyone's different. So this issue with SNPs is also what's happening. So if you have genetic SNPs, your mycotoxins are less likely to get in your body. So the same thing is true. Your glutathione conjugation pathway, your methylation pathway, your SNPs, those folks are more likely to show through mycotoxin exposure or mold symptoms versus folks that would have the same exposure. So you can test them. They're from real-time labs, and the treatment is the exact same thing we're talking about. Make sure your methylation, make sure your detoxification pathways are proper, make sure your digestive system is doing what it should be doing, and literally the same type of idea. You may add in antifungals and antibacterials to try to kill them, but it's the actual mycotoxin that has to come out of the body. Did I answer that? Yeah.
Test for mold in the house or in your.
Thank you, yes. So you can test for mold in the house. There are certified mold inspectors, and they test every room, and they put out little detectors that will take all the spores from the air and detect it, and you can test per room. So that's one way to do it if you have mold symptoms. But mold symptoms are difficult because the symptoms of environmental toxins and heavy metals and mold can sometimes all look the same. So usually if you have an environmental background where you may have been exposed to mold, then you're more likely to test for it. But Walter Crinian says, he's been testing for years and years and years. He says he finds people that actually go from one moldy house to the next moldy house to the next moldy house, and it's almost as if the mold is driving the bus on where to live. And he's seen it over and over again. And if there is exposure, and if there is something like Stachybotrys found in the house, it has to be completely remediated by a certified company, because you can't just take it down, scrape it off, and put plywool back in. It's extremely dangerous. We don't, in Canada, we don't actually honor it the way it should be honored. And we live in a humid environment where there's lots of rain, and our houses aren't built the best, and so we do have more exposure. Sorry about that. Any other questions?
Okay, you said magnesium 400 milligrams.
For an adult.
Right, for an
Should
adult.
cause diarrhea. Pardon me?
Magnesium what?
I just use the glycinate because it is a little bit easier to digest, so you're less likely to get diarrhea. So I use 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate. Apparently, so this is according to Walter Cranium. Magnesium has better magnesiums, but they're not that better. So magnesium glycinate is the best, or magnesium taurine, or magnesium, what's the other one? Glycinate, taurine, malate. Those are the kind of the best guys.
I'm giving you a 15-minute warning, just so you
Okay,
know.
I'm good, we've got you.
And don't scare them.
I can't remember, I just but it doesn't matter that much. If there's better absorbable magnesium, but apparently it's not that much of a difference.
So you're testing to see if you're deficient in magnesium by taking it.
Right.
To see if you have
I use magnesium glycinate, yeah. Usually you should get 400 milligrams in any magnesium.
Can you test that out on a child?
No, you kind of go by their weight. So if the average adult is like 100, 150, that's the average adult, then you sort of, that's the 400 milligrams, and then you would sort of dial it back according to,
So like a 50-pound child, less than that.
yeah, third of that 400 milligrams. But again, if there's, it's safe. So the downside is you can create diarrhea, but it's not going to be a dangerous type of diarrhea. Yep.
Do you, I'm sorry I was late, so
Yeah.
maybe you already said this, but do you recommend any people who can test houses for moldiness?
So the question is, do I recommend any people who can test houses for mold? I just had, like, we got our house tested, and so my husband Googled this company, and they were certified. And I don't know enough about the certification. What company did I use? I don't.
I'm just really wondering
Yeah.
that, yeah. And did you find mold in your house?
Yeah.
And do you have to do a huge extensive reno?
I'm not going to answer that. I just closed it if I saw my house.
It's just hard to, oh God, I know.
I don't know what to do. But we didn't find Stachy, we found Aspergillus, and we're just not going to place it. It was above, so what they do is they measure the room, and then they measure what's outside, and if what's in your house is more than what's outside, that's a problem. If it's much more than what's outside, it's a real problem.
What about just ventilating more?
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. It's not gonna fix it.
How much was the test?
It was $100 per room. I would, if I did it again, and I am gonna move, don't tell my husband. Don't tell the people who are gonna buy my house. I don't know, I just opened it all up, my ethical dilemma. I will tell them I'll expose it, because I have to now. But if I were to do it again, I would actually go to the rooms that I had concern and test those rooms first. Just pay the $100. If you had a high number, have it back in. So we've spent like
To get those results.
Pardon me?
I'm looking to move, so I'm thinking maybe I'll test wherever I'm looking at before I move. So how long does it take to get the results?
Right away. Yeah, they're back in a couple weeks. They do send it to a
A
lab.
couple weeks, sometimes that's too late when you buy it.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm gonna do. I'm doing that. The next house I buy, and I might move, is, I'm gonna move next door to Simon.
And how do we find a house around here that doesn't have mold in it?
You test it.
Yeah,
Cement,
but
mold
don't you
can't
think
grow
most
on
places-
cement.
Most places would, wouldn't they?
Mold can't grow on cement. If you buy an unfinished basement, and
That's the best thing.
and take a pregnant lady through. It's not anything, like dogs.
Unfinished basements still have insulation. And
Yeah.
you can grow in insulation.
Yes.
right?
It grows in drywall and wood. That's what it loves. Yeah.
Did you tell them the mold catches her?
No, I was trying to.
Really?
So,
You're trying to avoid it?
yeah, I told them I
Don't
avoided
avoid
my
it.
house, and then now I'm like.
Can they all hear you?
Yeah, they can hear me. They can't hear the question. So I'll tell you my story about mold. So this is my first little girl, Alexis. I love her. I love my first little girl as well.
Second.
Oh my goodness. So I have a first little girl. Her name is Katja. She's now 2.5. So when Katja was about a year and a half, I put her in daycare, and I was gonna breast pump because I'm a good mom and I breastfeed, and and so I started to pump, and for 6 months I was pumping, and I was a great mom. And then there was an area in the breast pump that I forgot to clean. It's obvious to everyone else in the world that you open it and clean it, not me. So I opened it up, black mold, constant supply of water, black mold, yeah. So she's great, she's smart, she's developmentally ahead, she's great. But
she's small, right? And
she's
her belly
small,
was starting
her
to
belly
get
was completely
extended.
distended, dark circles on the eyes, pale,
So my husband Matt,
runny
all
nose,
kids.
runny nose, all the time.
Cashew nose ran all the time.
All the time.
And so he would say, like, if your uncle kiss goodbye, and he'd be like,
You have to kiss her, she's
because she
beautiful.
was constantly, her nose was constantly running.
Yeah.
Constantly.
So she has a personality, a great personality, but more of an introvert. She's an introvert. You know, she's a great girl, but she's like an introvert. Everything's all happening inside. So we learned about glutathione about 6 months ago. Well, maybe we learned more, but we started to practice about glutathione. She got oh my gosh, it's a long story. So she tested positive for gluten allergy, but I think the mold actually put pressure on her immune system and allowed her to have more allergies. So I think she tested positive for gluten, and she is, because the mold put pressure on her immune system. She tested high for gluten. Gluten's obviously out of her diet, but the nose and the belly didn't change. So, and grains, we did grain-free, still nose issues. So she started to get frequent strep, and then she had a chest issue one day, and Simon's like, you have to do glutathione nebulizer, you have to put the mask on and put the glutathione on her. So I did. Her personality exploded. She is an extrovert. She's not an introvert. She had inflammation in her brain, it's affecting her personality.
It was shocking because like Chris's husband is an amazing visual fighter, right?
So it's all from the mold.
Yes,
And so
it was all
she
normal.
started the glutathione nebulizer, and then she started orally, and our kids go to a daycare that's close to each other.
Yeah.
And I dropped off, and I always give her a little hug and kiss, and she's like, Auntie so look at them dance, and I'm like,
I never got hugs and kisses. She's 2.5. She was introvert. I never got hugs and kisses. It's her personality. It was her personality.
it was shocking.
It wasn't her personality. I get hugs, I get kisses. She just shows her me. Her personality is completely different, and she had mycotoxins in her brain. So, well, I'm learning and experiencing everything just like everyone else. I'm not a bad mom. My guilt is not there.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I'm tying it up.
Yeah, everyone's gonna head back in so we can do Q&A. We're doing,
I have
Questions?
Sorry.
Yes.
If you have a suspicion of supplements that you're getting diarrhea, how long does it take to go out and get it out of your system?
6 hours.
Oh, really, that
Yeah.
fast?
Gone.
So if you still got diarrhea after that, there's something else?
Right, so the question was, if you're taking supplements and you get diarrhea, how do you know that it's the supplements doing it? How fast do the supplements leave your body? And it's usually about 6 hours. They're gone. Any other questions? Now that I've revealed everything, my house, my child, my, yeah, okay, no.
I have a question, but it's not related.
That's okay.
It's too big of a question.
That's fine.
Can you summarize the issue with GMO?
Can I summarize the issue with genetically modified foods? And I love them too. So a third of all the bees on the planet are dead. We need bees because they pollinate everything and they make life happen. Genetically modified food kills the bees. Got it? Bees are important. I really don't know how important bees are, but we need cross-pollination all over the world. Bees are our lifeblood. And the fact that genetically modified food can kill bees, that can be the only problem. At that point, it can be game over. We know that genetically modified food actually damages our villi and changes them. Crazy. So, yeah. We didn't think they had an effect, but they do. They have an actual effect on our system.
And
Sorry.
all genetically modified foods of all different kinds have a similar effect or different effects?
I haven't researched it well enough, but you know, the movie Genetic Roulette will give you a nice starting spot. And it's very, very, it's got tons of research in it, and there's a nice book, and I've cracked a couple of pages, but it's just like too big of an issue. So I just eat organic because I don't know as much as I should about genetically modified foods. Yeah, you're welcome.
Does chlorella, you see chlorella advertised a lot, does it help detoxify people?
It does. I'm not quite sure why. It might be because of the vitamins and minerals in there do help the phase 1, phase 2 detoxification.
Well, you mentioned chlorella.
But there has been research on chlorella decreasing, pulling out PCBs. So there's research in it doing it.
Oh, that was the question I wanted to ask.
And-
PCBs,
yeah.
does organic butter, I guess it still has PCBs too, does it?
Well,
'Cause it's everywhere.
it's everywhere.
So
But-
even though you eat organic, you could still be getting it.
So I asked Wilter Creamian about this because I was worried about eggs, because it's an animal, so it would still bioaccumulate. And he says as long as they're organic, well, how do you get an organic egg? Well, you must feed the chicken organic feed, so then the organic feed would have less contaminants. So I don't know about organic butter. I don't know the answer. I think it would be better, but it's not like you're not getting PCBs from pesticides, you're getting it from the
I
accumulation.
know, it's
Yeah.
everywhere, so,
Yeah.
you know,
I love butter. I love chocolate. But I think it's worthwhile not doing organic butter in this case.
yeah.
That and we haven't even mentioned the beta 1 and beta 2 cows, and so
Oh, that's,
yeah, I know. So we just say no butter. Yeah, yeah. I wish it would be easy to just get organic milk, but I don't think it's that easy.
what about unpasteurized milk or boiled?
So sorry, I'm just tagging back and forth. So the question is about organic milk or butter, organic butter or unpasteurized butter. And the short answer is just no.
No.
Yeah. We could have a whole day conference on dairy. I hate to be the bad guy, but it's just easier for me to say no, and then there's lots and lots of whys.